fix your nightmare. Why is this little thing such a problem? Just throw it in the steel pile and get some money for it, right? Oh no, no, better get throw it in the dirty aluminum pile and get a little bit more money for it, right? That's not how I do things. The way I do things is I'm gonna clean this thing, get all the plastic off of it, get all the steel off of it, and get me a pretty penny for a clean cast aluminum scrap. And here's how it's done. Alright, so I done ran through this video, made sure I didn't pull any Houdini acts, made sure I didn't take no lunch breaks and nothing. But I'm gonna watch this through with y'all and comment on what I'm doing and why I'm doing it. So, as you can see, we about to get started. The main reason why I clean these is because the cast aluminum clean is a way better price than dirty aluminum. I'm gonna try to look up and see what the difference in price is, because offhand I don't know what it is. So in a second here I'm gonna tell you the price is, what the price is. While I'm doing that, the first step to cleaning these things is getting that plastic shell off. It's not always the easiest, but it's usually not overly complicated. But when you first start cleaning it, it's gonna be, you go look at it, turn it over a couple of times, and think, how in the world did they put this together? Alright, so let's see. Alright, I'm gonna say cast aluminum goes for about 35 cents a pound, somewhere in there. So if you figure 35 cents a pound versus somewhere around 10 cents a pound, which one would you go for? Personally, I think 35 sounds better, even if it is 25 or something. That's still better than 8 cents a pound. Alright, got the bottom of it off. I know I'm looking at all these screws in here because, as you're gonna see, that's the worst part about these things. There are so many screws in so many different places. As you can see, I didn't just pop the shell off. You gotta find every single little screw, or at least some of them. If I was doing this outside, it probably would have been, I probably would have got a hammer and took it to it. But I felt like being a little bit cleaner about it since it's early in the morning. I think I did this at about 5 o'clock in the morning. Ain't no way nobody wants to hear no banging at 7 o'clock in the morning. So I had to break out the screwdriver and get it done the hard way. Now once you do a couple of these, most of the times the screws are in about the same place, especially for the outer shell. And that's why I'm doing this video, is so that I'll remember where the screws are. But every time I look at one, I'm like trying to remember where everything is. But they're usually in about the same place. I think I've done at least 10 or 15 of these things. And they, once you get into it, it starts feeling familiar, but it's been a while since I've seen one of these. So that's why I had to make a video out of this. Don't seem like people use sewing machines anymore. Maybe they do, I don't know. The only other thing I could think of that would be worse than having to clean one of these is a lawnmower. Cleaning a lawnmower and cleaning one of these, I don't know which one's worse. Probably the lawnmower, because you're going to make a mess cleaning a lawnmower. At least you ain't going to make no mess with this. Making progress, about 2/3 of the way through. Almost to the inside of it. That's where the real fun begins. You think pulling the plastic off of it is fun. Wait till you see the inside of it. Here's the first trick they like to pull. They hide screws so well in this. Like, you'll go through one side and take all the screws out, flip it over and pull some more screws out, and turn it back to the side you were working on and find some more. They hide screws, under parts under screws. I'm about ready to crack that thing right there, but I said, nah, I ain't gonna do that. Just in case I want to put it back together. Don't ever think that you just gonna get everything done with a power screwdriver or power drill. You gonna need a regular screwdriver. I thought they had clipped it in on something. Actually, they might have. There I go again, about ready to just break the thing off. You know, there's one little screw in there holding it in somewhere. No, I got lucky. I found them all. Sometimes they get popped off. Sometimes there is a little screw holding it in somewhere. But that's usually about how the shell comes off of them. If they ever come up with something more creative, I'll let y'all know. Yes, sir. Where to start? There are so many screws in this thing. It's unbelievable. If you watch that little glass thing up in the front, you'll see like that thing will be pretty much filled up. I think it holds about a pound of material, depending on what it is. Like I haven't weighed it, but I think I put some copper in it, and it held about a pound of copper. I'm gonna call that dish a pound container. It might be different with steel. I think steel is a little heavier. Sometimes those knobs you could just pull them off, but usually there's a screw holding them on there. You just gotta pop the top of the cover off. They like to hide the screws on some models. Some of them you can see them. Some of them they put like a little plastic thing over it or a sticker. I don't mind the stickers, but when they put a whole plastic covering over it, that's when you do a little too much there. Yeah, this right here I thought was brass at first, but I went ahead and tested it with the little grinder thing, and it turned out to be just regular old steel. That's one thing. Always check your metals. There's two ways to check metals. Two easy ways to check metals. The first one is to put a magnet to it. If a magnet sticks to it, you narrowed it down to steel or dirty stainless. If a magnet doesn't stick to it, You either got copper, brass, aluminum, or clean stainless. And if you take a grinder to it, if it sparks, and it usually helps to have a thick grinding wheel on it. But if you put a thick grinding wheel into stainless steel, it'll spark, whereas aluminum will not. No type of aluminum will spark. So you hit it with a grinding wheel, it sparks. You've got either stainless steel or regular steel. If you put a grinder to it, it doesn't spark. You could have copper, brass, or aluminum, or die cast, or zinc. But we'll get into that. I've got a video coming about. I think I'm gonna do die cast next. Die cast for me is really confusing because there's a couple of other ones that you can confuse it with. Die cast, zinc, and I guess cast aluminum, but those die cast I think I'm gonna do next. I've already done a video on steel and stainless, so yeah, I think I'm gonna do that one next. Alright, so we done got most of the plastic off of it. We got the plastic shell off of it. Right now we're just pulling out the screws. Like you heard me say already 100 times, there are a million screws on this thing. And that little thing hanging in the background, that right there, that's a motor. I didn't clean it on this video. They're not really hard to clean, but by the time I got to it, I was worn out, tired of holding the drill. So I'm gonna do that later on. I tell you, I'm drinking a big cup of Joe right now, trying to get through this video. I just want to go to sleep, but it's too early in the day to be doing that. So I'm gonna finish this video up. I'm gonna take it outside to the slab and get some more work in. I got a bunch of extruded aluminum I gotta clean up. Got a couple motors I can tear apart. Got a refrigerator I gotta clean. Got a bunch of compressors that I need to clean. Oh, to do. That's why I call me the scrapper's best friend. Keep it moving. Especially about 3 o'clock in the afternoon when you got ready to lay down. You've been outside all day. Grinder getting heavy, hammers hurts to hold. You go inside, drink you a good cup of coffee, be right back at it. These are just the screws. They got another surprise for you on the sewing machines that are just. If you have the wrong tool for it, you gonna wish that by itself and you go buy a drill. Electric screwdriver. I really don't know what they call it. What they call it? Electric screwdriver or drill. Call it my best friend. There's my OCD kicking in right there. I know good and well I should have just threw that in the steel pile. Nah, I gotta get all the plastic off of it, make sure that it's clean steel. Steel is probably the one thing where you can get away with just throwing the whole thing in there. With me personally, my OCD kicks in. I start taking plastic off of things that wouldn't even matter. Yeah, I got too much stuff in there. I had to take all the big stuff out of there, put it in a separate container. Oh yeah, I always keep something to throw my screws in because those things are so annoying to pick up. I promise you, on the days that I don't, I still have screws in places where I need to go get them. So you can keep something to keep throwing the screws in and keep yourself from throwing them on the floor and dropping them somewhere. You save yourself a lot of work. You might even be able to do some work in the house. Nobody wants to step on a screw walking in late night. More plastic. Right about now, I'm tired of seeing plastic. I don't want to see no more plastic on this thing. Yeah, checking to see. I think that's aluminum. I want to say it's cast aluminum, but I'm not sure right now because it's too small for me to just be like, yeah, that's what it is. But I'm gonna check it later. Either that or I'll just throw it in the sheet in the regular aluminum pile. They call it sheet aluminum at my scrapyard. I'm not sure what they call it. Other places they might call it the same thing. So we got sheet aluminum, extruded, and die cast. And of course, you got all your dirties. But the goal here is to clean this thing and get a nice piece of clean cast aluminum. So far, we doing pretty good. We ain't breaking no records, but we ain't doing too bad. This right here is another tricky part of the sewing machine. Sometimes it just slides out, and sometimes they done found some creative way to get it in there. And right here, I'm not really sure how they did it, so I'm still trying to figure it out. That whole little thing goes up and down, and sometimes you can just pull it out. Yeah, I should have just threw that whole thing in the steel pile. I think the next time I find a sewing machine, I'll show you the other way to clean it. It's a lot easier, but you don't make as much money off of it. This other way, I'll do it if I have like 5 or 6 of them, and you probably end up. You still probably don't make as much money, but at least you make a little bit of money off the cast. It depends on how you do it. Like you can do it with a hammer, you can do it with an angle grinder. An angle grinder is kind of hard because there's all these curves and corners. But a hammer, you'll probably get more of it out, but you'll make a way bigger mess. I'll probably try it with an angle grinder, it's cleaner. Yeah, with a sewing machine, you're generally gonna need one. You're gonna need a Phillips, a flathead, and just to be safe, 3 to 4 Allen keys, Allen wrenches, keys, whichever. So those are the 5 things you're gonna need because you're gonna need at least 3 Allen keys. But if you have a electric screwdriver, it's gonna make your day a lot easier. You might actually finish it. The easiest way to do it, if you haven't already figured it out, is to start with your Phillips and get all the Phillips screws out that you can. Don't try to work on one side and then switch around because you just gonna misplace something. The easiest way is just to circle it with the Phillips and then come back through. Even with the Allen wrenches, you don't want to start with one size and find all the ones that you can with that size and then come back through. I guess that's a rule of tools. Like once you pick up a tool, don't put that tool down until you're done with it. Like sitting there picking up a tool, switching and stuff. It just takes time. It's too much time. The easiest way to do it is just to use that one until you're finished with it, and then switch to your other, to whatever else you're working with. I don't even pay attention to that half the time, but if you can remember it, if you can do it, it'll make your day a lot easier. And you won't have to worry about misplacing it. You just finish, when you're finished using it, you put it back where it's supposed to be, and use your next one. Finish with that, put it back where it's supposed to be. And like with sewing machines, you're gonna find that it's something, you're gonna uncover something after you finish cleaning one part, you gotta uncover something else. So that type of switching probably ain't that bad. But don't be sitting there trying to clean one whole side of it. Constantly just work your way around it. Light bulbs, I always take light bulbs out just because you're gonna bang it against something, squeeze it, crush it, step on it. Probably should have taken it out sooner, but I wasn't throwing it around nowhere, so. This is about the time where I start throwing everything in the steel bin. By now, I know I'm tired of seeing all this stuff. I'm tired of trying to get all that plastic off, but the more you practice doing that type of stuff, the better you'll be with other things that aren't quite so complicated. That's the reason why I do this. It's like an endurance challenge. Can you sit there and clean this whole thing? But if you can do a couple of these, and doing a couple refrigerators or microwaves ain't no problem at all. You get them done in 5-10 minutes. But if you sit here and take shortcuts on these, you ain't teaching yourself nothing. You ain't getting nowhere. It's like everything you do in life, you gotta sit there and do it all the way. Taking shortcuts just don't work, especially in this trade. You take shortcuts, you cheating yourself. That's the reason why I hold on to all the screws that I can, because them screws add up. Besides the fact that you don't ever know when you might need a screw to fix something. I used to keep a 5 gallon bucket around with all the screws until I filled it up. And you don't know how many times I went in that bucket looking for something like a washer or a screw or a pen of sorts, anything. I call it like my little doodad bucket. Any doodad that I found, I put it in that bucket. And throughout the time that I had it, I used to constantly be going in it, pulling something out to fix something else. But it's not a bad idea. And then that little 5 pound, 50 pound bucket or 5 gallon bucket, that's gonna hold a bit of weight. That's that's quite a bit of weight if you ever fill that thing up full of screws. That's just extra money right there. Not to mention the mess that you're saving yourself. Nowadays, though, I just keep all the screws and throw them in the steel. But I do still find myself looking for things. Like just the other day, I needed a washer for something, couldn't find one. That's like 55. I would have had it. Now we're getting to the good stuff. I'm not sure if I done got all the screws out. I can't tell just by looking at it. I think there's a couple more because you're going to have to use a flathead too. You're going to need a Phillips and a flathead. And then put everything in there with a Phillips screwdriver. Oh yeah, here's the fun part. They're gonna put things in there. When you get down to your Allen keys, yeah, we have the Allen key now. They're gonna put them on there with these small little things. They ain't got no head to it. All it is just the cylinder part. You put the Allen key in there and go to taking it off. If you get it off, your Allen key gonna get stuck in it. That's what I'm doing now, trying to get that thing out. I came up with a little trick about halfway through. Too late in the game to change the outcome, but it's a little trick I thought of. It kind of works. Cause doing that don't work, that's for sure. Oh great, we done pulled a Houdini. Alright. Yeah, there we go. First wise idea of the day. I don't know if grease would have worked better, but I tried WD-40. What I did was I got me a little container. Make sure you get a container that'll stand up that you can't knock over, cause that's not what I use. I used the pencil sharpener thing, and believe me, before I got 4 screws in, I knocked it over. But yeah, I tried to put a little WD-40 on the end of the Allen key. If you ever do one of these, you'll see why. I went to that extreme. It's just one of those things you need something to get that thing off of it. This is about the time where ordinarily I would have took it outside and took a hammer to it. Cause right about now I ain't got all of the screws out of it. Once you get all the screws out of it, the rest of the stuff is all stuck together on the inside. I think there's 2 long bars. There's 1 bar down the underside and there's 1 bar across the top. And those 2 bars are connected. And what they did was they used these little screws. I ain't even screws. The little things to bolt the things on the bars. I'm not sure what the bar is connected to. I think there's something up top that it's sitting on. But once you get down to them 2 little bars, if you want to save time, just go take it outside and beat it up with a hammer. Or a sawzall or an angle grinder or whatever suits your fancy. Like I said, the only reason why I'm doing this like this is because it's 7 o'clock in the morning. I think I ain't trying to be out there making all that noise. I would love to. Right about now, I would love to be out there beating that thing up with a hammer, especially with all the anger and frustration I got with this thing right now. Yeah, oh man. I forget what movie that is where they took the copy machine out back and beat it up. Office Clerks or something like that. Clerks. I can't tell if I got the needle thing out yet either. I know I got the needle out, but there's a whole rod that goes through that part too. Persistence and patience. Those are the two things that gonna get you paid on this thing. Especially if you working for yourself. If you ain't got neither one of them, don't even you just stealing from somebody else. Oh, there we go. There's a piece of brass on the end of that. That's the other thing. Some machines have a little bit more than others, but don't forget about that brass. A lot of things they use a little bit of brass here and there. As brass is one of those things that's good to sit there and save because it's heavy for what it is, and it really don't take a lot to make a dollar. But you gotta know that you gotta check all your metals, especially with the electronics, because the electronics they like to coat it silver. A lot of your connections in electronics are gonna be brass. On appliances and stuff, the worst thing they do is they bury it in plastic, and the easiest way to get it out is to cut it in half. Don't ever get the ingrained in you that to make money you gotta have it's gotta be identifiable. Brass is brass is brass is brass. If you cut it in half, you still gonna get paid for it. So don't be sitting there looking at your pipes trying to get the plastic out of it like how am I gonna get it? But cut it in half. Looking at a brass nut buried in plastic, cut it in half. Cut it in fours if you have to. Don't think that it's gotta be a whole piece of brass to get paid for it, cause at the end of the day, brass is brass, brass is brass. Same with copper. Copper is the same way. Don't be looking at a piece of copper for hours and hours trying to figure out how you gonna get the plastic or whatever out of it. Cut it in half. Garden hose. Garden hoses are a good source of brass, and I will stop quick to cut the end of the garden hose off. But to get clean brass, you gotta get the rubber off of it and out of the inside of it. Because what they do is they put the rubber on the inside of the two pieces of brass. You run that angle grinder right down the middle of it, it'll open up for you. You just pull it out. So don't be afraid to cut a brass in half. It's the same thing with motors too, like aluminum motors. Man, just cut into it. They don't have to look like a motor to get the price for it. Turn it in as aluminum. Alright, that right there is the rod on top that I'm working on. I think on this one I got lucky. A lot of times they like to use two bolts, screws on the same piece. Like they'll put one in one place and then they'll move over about a quarter of an inch, less than that, and then they'll put another one. I haven't quite understood it because there's no way those things are gonna rattle out, but I guess they feel more secure with it in there like that. But I think this one they only used one. So I did, if they did, I got lucky on that part. But a lot of times you'll find you'll be trying to get two of them out in the same piece. Man, we almost there. Almost there. Yeah, I thought I was gonna have to leave that piece on there. Sometimes a little bit elbow grease to get you a long way. And this is the rod with the needle in it. As you can see, I took the needle off of it because right there I would have just impaled my thumb. But besides the light bulb, that's the other thing that I like to try to take out as soon as possible because you'll poke yourself, stab yourself, it'll fall out somewhere and you won't notice it. Because all the needle does is it slides into it, and then it's like a little slot. So if you turn it upside down, a lot of times the needle will fall out of it. That thing right there. Trying to figure out. I know it comes out, and there ain't no screws holding it, so I just gotta figure out how to get it out. there's two little things on the middle in the middle of the frame that kept the whole thing from sliding out. So what you gotta do is you gotta push them down to one side and then pull it up, and push them down to the other side and pull it out. And there we have a clean cast aluminum sewing machine frame. Not a single piece of steel otherwise attached to it. So that is perfectly good scrapping material right there. But we got a little bit more work to do. On this rod right here, I done found two more pieces of cast aluminum that of course I want to get off because I'm trying to make money. That little bit right there gonna go in my pocket as soon as I figure out how to get it from around that piece of steel. There's the first piece. Nice piece of cast aluminum. That's another thing. Don't try to work in some small little space. As soon as I can, I'm gonna get me like a full table that I can actually work on. One that you can walk around. Don't put your table up against the wall somewhere thinking that hey, this is gonna be my workbench. Put it in the middle of the room somewhere where you can walk around it. That way you can put stuff on both ends and walk around. The less restricting, the better. It's still better than working on the floor because that's where I started doing these. I would put them all on the floor on a piece of wood and do it that way. And I got quite a bit of work done like that, but there's nothing like being able to work at like standing up like this, or sitting down if you want to, but more elevated is better. Easier on the knees and the back. Yeah, this part right here almost beat me. I almost threw that whole thing on a piece of steel right there. I got that piece out. Now the cast aluminum that I'm trying to get is right in the middle. It's that big long piece sticking down from the bar. And that's what I'm trying to get to. I just don't know which way I want to go about getting it. Oh, I done lost it out. I thought I lost it out on key. I'm gonna turn that whole place upside down looking for it. I probably should have edited it out, but it's kind of funny watching me look for something. Yeah, what it was, I just put it in the wrong place. Another reason to stay organized. That little case that I got them things in right there is the best thing in the world. Keeps everything right where it is if you can remember to put it back in it. Yeah, here's the other trick they got for you. They stick these pins through the steel, and they're not screws, and they're not actually pins, but they're these little steel pieces stuck through the bar. There's no way to spin them, no way to pry them, no way to do none of that stuff. And so you gotta, I try to figure out how to get it out. Yeah, I really, there's only one way I figured out how to do it. At least when I was sitting there struggling too much. I'm already trying too hard right now. Here's my second bright idea for the day. Oh, didn't have it yet. I got, yeah, we did. I got another bright idea right here. This was actually something that I had purchased uh, just the day before. And at the time, I didn't realize it. I thought it was the same as the one that I have, but this was actually a step up from what I was working with. And when I turned it on and ran it, I could feel the difference. Like, there's definitely a difference between the two. And then just holding it the side in general is a big difference. But this is my little Christmas present to myself. An early present. The trick with these things is, have you ever been to Harbor Freight before? Harbor Freight sells their own brand material, and without saying anything too negative about them, the best thing to do is get you a warranty. Get you a 1 year warranty or a 2 year warranty, because you definitely gonna use it. I would have used it on that one, except I didn't. I was new to the game. I ain't know no better, so I got wise. I got me a 2 year warranty on this. Especially doing what I'm doing, it's gonna break. It's gonna get damaged. Something's not gonna work on it. I'm gonna want a new one fairly quickly. So your best thing to do is get you one of these and get you a warranty, and keep renewing the warranty too, because you pretty much have a lifetime supply of these things for relatively cheap, really cheap. Made a few personal modifications to it. That's the one. That's the handle that came with it. But I'm used to working with the different size handle. I didn't see where it would make any big difference, so I think I went ahead and changed that. But you'll see the difference in the two grinders that I was using. This one right here is a 6 amp. It's still not way up there, but I'm not doing anything serious. I'm doing like little microwaves, and I think the biggest thing I've done is maybe like a washing machine or a filing cabinet or something. This one right here is a 4 amp, and I think at the time they were selling the 4 amps for cheaper than the six, and that's the reason why I got that one. But just recently, when I went out there to go buy a replacement for the 4 amp one, they had a six for the same price. So I figured, why not? Why would I buy a 4 amp when I could buy a six? So I went ahead and got a six, and it's a lot. There's a little bit of a difference between the two. Of course, most of the parts are interchangeable, so I kept those things because Lord only knows when that's gonna break. There's the handle that I ended up replacing because I just fell in love with the handle. And then of course I kept the thing that you take the things off of because I almost lost mine like 3 or 4 times, bent it all up. So I'm gonna keep the one that came with the other one and that one. And I'm gonna scrap the rest of that tool. The other one, the problem with it was it keeps cutting on and off. I think I overheated it somehow or damaged the motor or something. I'm sure I'll figure it out when I tear it apart, but it just wasn't acting right. So I said, you know what, I'm not gonna fight with it. I'm just gonna go get me a new one. For the price that I paid, you can't go wrong. Now I'm not gonna say that what I'm doing right now is the wisest idea in the world, and I'm not gonna suggest that you do it. But being what I am and doing what I do, I figured it would be safe enough. But I don't want to suggest that people just go out there and do this stuff just like this. It's not the smartest thing in the world. She ain't nothing like a this switch right here is different too. It has a safety on the switch, and then it's pressed down like a something that's pressed down. So you push it up and it will start. This one you press down. So you gotta press that and press the at different times. Kind of hard to get used to, but once I get used to it, it won't be bad. It'll probably break. That's probably the first thing to break. But if that safety switch goes, I won't even be mad. Alright, so I'll figure out how to get that off on the hammer. Should have went for the hammer. Even that, I'm not gonna advocate banging on people's washing machines because that's what I'm working on right now. If you can't tell, but this washing machine is on its way out the door, one way or the other. So I'm not banging on it perfectly good. I'm not banging on no LG washing machine. This is a Kenmore right here. And I think even the Kenmore can stand up to it. I think if I plugged it in and got it all working, I think it would still run. But you can't go bang on no LGs like that. Not for very long, anyway. Alright, find the hammer. Find the hammer. Yep, there we go. And even then, I don't really want to be on this washing machine that hard, so that's what I'm kind of hesitant. I think I ended up holding it up in the air and banging on it. still think there's something holding it together. I think what it was, there was something, one part of it was thicker than the other. That's what had me kind of confused. It's like right there where that bar is. There's a thick part of it. And once you get past that, it'll come right off. But getting it past that is difficult. I think the best saying in the world, the hammer always wins. Those right there are the last little pieces of cast aluminum. Everything else going in a steel pile or the trash. This is the electrical part of it. Of course, the motor's in my hand. It's probably a copper motor, but there's a chance that there's aluminum in it and stuff. And then this piece has a different female end than I guess most sockets have, but it's got 3 prongs of brass in that little black thing. And what it is there's 3 nuts holding it together. But at this point in time, I'm just too worn out. I don't put too much effort into doing that, so I'm surprised they even went that far. Once again, I should have took it out back and put a hammer to it and just beat it up. But what I'm gonna end up doing is taking my brand new 6-amp grinder to it and slicing it out of there. And that'll be a little bit more brass that I can add to my collection. I'm really trying to get like 50 pounds or better of brass. When you start working with your dollar amounts, like your brass, radiators, I'm not even talking about copper, like your brass, radiators, things like that, for a small time scrapper, I think 50 pounds is doing pretty good. Like, of course, you can sit there and wait till you get 100 or 200 pounds, but if you want to keep money coming in, I think 50 pounds of brass is fairly reasonable. Brass goes for like $1.60, so that's 50 right off the top. And then 60 times 5. So yeah, you got more than $50. Let's put it that way. More, it's right around $100 So anytime I'm working with brass or radiators, I'm trying to get 50 pounds or better. Got your electrical wire. Some of that I'll strip, some of it I won't. There's a paddle, there's a foot pedal that came with it Our tattoo artist, that foot pedal is a really handy thing to keep around because if you hook your motor up to it, you got yourself an on-off switch that you can hit with your foot instead of having to move your hands around. Because moving your hands around is not something you want to do. You want to be holding that or whatever. So if you know a tattoo artist and you find one of those foot pedals and they like to build their own machines, show them one of those. You might even get them to do a backflip for it. There you have it. Perfectly scrappable, cast aluminum, cleaned, and ready to go. Y'all have yourselves a nice day. Thanks for watching the video. And check out the channel for more. I'll catch y'all on the flip side.